Welcome to the University of North Texas Speech and Hearing Clinic, proudly part of the College of Health and Public Service, housed in the Department of Audiology and Speech-Language Pathology. Today we will be taking you on a guided tour of our facility. Narrations will be completed by Dr. Teresa Corey, Principal Lecturer and Speech-Language Pathology Clinic Director, and Dr. Aaron Schaefer, Professor and Director of Graduate Studies in Audiology. We hope you enjoy this virtual tour, and to start things off for us today, Dr. Teresa Corey.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to be showing you part of the UNT Speech and Hearing Center, focusing on the speech and language areas. This is our parking lot, which you can see is very accessible for our clients. We have about 13 parking spaces. Right now, the procedure based on COVID mandates, our clients come in, find a parking space before they release their, let's say, children or spouse, or they themselves come into the clinic. They have completed a COVID screener and passed it, of course. And in the case of children being dropped off by parents, my graduate student clinicians come out, pick up the child, and then bring them into the clinic. If there is a particular issue with transitions, some of our parents will indeed drop their children off at the front door, where the clinicians will intercept them to bring them into the clinic to start their therapy sessions. Okay, so you can see there's a ramp, which some of our folks that are wheelchair bound can use, or some of our folks using assistive devices for walking can use. The entrance into the clinic is guarded by a door, which is allowed by key entry by our staff, personnel, and students. And in terms of our clients, the entryway is allowed by our clinical secretary and receptionist, who are manning our front desk at all time. Okay, so here is our key guard system. Okay, as you can see. All staff, graduate students, personnel are issued these key cards, which they are responsible for having. Okay, as we come into our clinic lobby, first thing you might see is our seating area, which usually seats about 14 clients. In the case of our COVID procedures, we've got some of our seating turned, which is not allowed. And we have mandated that our clients are not allowed, parents, families, whatever, are not allowed at this point to come into the waiting room and wait for their children or spouses to be released from therapy. We've made certain types of accommodations for families that need to be able to drop their children off or their spouses off. But at this point, because of COVID and because of us regulating the number of persons that comes into our clinic, we're not allowing families to come in and observe on a regular basis. Okay, in our lobby area, we have sanitizers. We have quite a few pieces of signage. One which focuses on provision of assistive devices on request. One which focuses on asking our clients to maintain calm and quiet with their children. Let's see, our signage in terms of our workplace COVID procedures are here. Requirements for donning masks, and emergency signage in case of severe weather, fire, physical threats, that type of thing. So there's phone numbers that are available, and there's COVID hotline phone numbers on our COVID emergency procedures. There is additional signage over on our bulletin boards, which cover certain COVID health procedures. anti-discrimination policy associated with the UNT clinic. Comprehensive list of services that are provided, regulatory agencies that are regulating our department and our clinic, and then other details that come on and off this board as we see necessary. Okay, if we come this way, we can get a good look at our clinical reception area. Our clinical receptionists, of course, are behind glass doors, and you can see that there are 2 workstations that are separated by protective plexiglass barriers. And out of this office essentially comes all of our communications to our clients through our EMR system, and I will be showing you that later, but also all of our scheduling and other aspects of clinic coverage that come up is dealt with here at our clinic reception area by our clinical receptionists. We have 1 full-time, and then we have some work study students that also are employed during the school year. Okay, so if, Courtney, if you turn to your left, you'll see a fire alarm. And we also have another one in the back of the building. We will, all throughout our hallways, we have fire alert lights and lighting and smoke alarms. And we have a restroom, women's restroom, which is readily accessible. I will just open this up because it is handicap accessible. And then for our clients, we have a male restroom over here, men's restroom. Okay. And then down this left hallway, which I won't go right now, we have another restroom which is utilized by our staff and personnel. Okay, so if we come down this, what I call our therapy room hallway, we can make a first quick stop at a larger type therapy room, which is usually used for children, preschool aged clients. And we use this room also for our feeding assessments and for other types of young child and parent-based consultations. During a regular time, I would have a preschool language and literacy group in here, but for the since March 2020, we've had to curtail that group. Hopefully that will start up again in the fall. Okay, to Courtney's left, fire extinguisher. And as we come down this hallway, off to the left is a typical adult therapy room. As you can tell, adult-sized chairs. We usually have 4 chairs in each room so that a supervisor can accompany a clinician and a client and or a parent. If we come into the room, we'll see that we have all of our infection control materials, hand sanitizers. This has been very critical lately. HIQ disinfectant, which we disinfect all surfaces of toys, furniture, anything a client has touched after each therapy session is completed. We have our infection control procedure directions. We have our critical phone numbers for the UNT police, the Denton police, the suspected abuse reports to Texas Department of Family Protective Services, all of those numbers which are readily accessible to our supervisors and clinician in case they're needed. 2 different size gloves, tongue depressors, and these rooms are stocked at all times. Fire alarm or fire alert in each corner of each therapy room, and whiteboards in each therapy room. That's kind of a typical adult size room, or, you know, adolescent child room. Let's see, let's come down to a child, more of a child furnished room. Small table, small chairs, shelves for toys. Once again, all of your infection control PPE materials. Quite a few, more than one dispenser of disinfectant in here, because of course we have more toys and materials that are manipulated when we're dealing with our child clients. Again, all the signage, infection control procedures, alert phone, you know, emergency phone numbers, and once in a while we'll put up a sign like this, keep all table edges away from the walls, because we'll have to alert our clinicians to certain procedures to kind of maintain the look of our therapy room and cleanliness and all. Okay, so as we come down this hallway, you will see that the whole hallway is lined with these cupboards that serve as storage places for toys, therapy materials, just about anything you would need to conduct a therapy session with a child or adult type of client. If I open one of these cupboards, you'll see that it contains what is on our sign. We have signage on every storage area that we use. You'll see that there's pictures of what should be on each shelf. And we do this, of course, so that our materials get put away in the same place that they were originally stored. Clinicians are instructed to check out a material, put a yellow sticky note on it, which will designate the place, you know, which cupboard and which shelf that material came from, so that they can make sure, you know, kind of jogs their memory in terms of where it should be reshelved. And there's also another reason we do that with the COVID procedures and infection control. I will show you a lab, a disinfectant lab, which we store some of our toys in after we get done with our therapy session, so that they can be properly disinfected for the next day. And with those sticky notes on it, it will give the student worker or whomever is disinfecting those toys the right place for that toy to be restored. So let's see, in these shelves, we have games, we have toys, we have workbooks, we have all kinds of therapeutic stimulus items, our tick cards, language, games, programs. A lot of this stuff was purchased and some was given to us by different companies. We feel pretty lucky here to have the therapy toolkits that we do. We have about everything that you could ever want. More signage. Here is a UNT Speech and Hearing Center floor plan, which indicates where the emergency exits are, and also indicates kind of a pathway for transition when there is a particular type of emergency, which we've not had, knock on wood. More fire alarm alerts. So more therapy rooms. This particular therapy room has a lot of speech language technology stored on that computer, so we use this oftentimes for our clients that want or that need some kind of biofeedback or other technological piece of software that will aid in their therapy program. Coming around here, more storage space, which again is indicated by signage, exactly what is in here. If clinicians are looking for any particular type of therapy material, or sometimes if we turn here, we have an alphabetized clinic inventory, multiple pages long, which lists most all of our clinical materials and where they can be found, whether downstairs here or upstairs in our speech and language library. Bookshelf, some of the larger toys which we've ended up having to store in the hallway. Here is a semi, let's say large, small group room, which some of my preschool groups end up coming back here for some small group breakouts. Good sized room, for small adult groups and preschool groups. Okay, then coming to the back of the clinic, hand sanitizers. This is an exit which goes into a back lobby area. And this back lobby area essentially is a way to get to our elevator to get you to second floor. And it is also entryway to the stairs, which will take us up to the second floor. So clinicians, staff members, whomever that are entering the building from this back door will also have to use their key cards to come in. And if you'll notice, this is a back parking lot, which is really nice for staff, graduate student, TAs and GAs to use. And if you're coming in this way to the clinic, which a lot of our students do, make the back entrance, pre-COVID they do, now everybody entrances through that front door. But if you're coming in, once again, key card entry here to get into the clinic. Another floor plan. And this is what we basically call our middle hallway, which provides entrances to all of our observation rooms. Our observation rooms, of course, are used by parents, spouses, and any other party that is allowed to observe therapy sessions. I can take you into one of our rooms. We also allow student observers to do observation assignments using these rooms. And essentially, there's an audio system that is easily operated by whomever, volume and whatever, and a couple other pieces of signage talking about focusing on disinfection and whatever else we want, asking people to maintain quiet, low voices. Okay, and we have an observation room for every therapy room. This happens to be another room that's used for some SLP therapy and some audiological consultations, I believe. Okay, in this hallway, we have a few more materials, large size toys, as you can see, primarily for small children. And then we've had to create what we call this is a larger area for infection control for our COVID cleaning procedures. And essentially, our students are directed very strictly that if they cannot allow enough disinfection time after a therapy session for all materials and stimulus items that are used, they are allowed to drop the materials in here in this what we call our infection control lab now. And there's not a whole lot going on in here right now because we have not had a whole lot of treatment sessions lately during winter break. But what happens is toys, materials get deposited in here, And then a student worker at the end of the day comes in and disinfects according to infection control procedures, leaves them to dry or to do whatever, and then those will be reshelved first thing the next morning. So it makes it nice so that it doesn't put our clinicians under too much stress to hurry, get a therapy session done while somebody else is waiting for that therapy room. The main thing we stress is that every therapy room gets disinfected properly. Then the toys and the other stimulus items, if need be, can be deposited in here. This, of course, is an observation room, which we are not using right now for observation. Okay, so if we move along this way, another floor plan, and essentially I'm coming down a hallway which takes us into the audiology wing, but I wanted to show another room, conference room / therapy room. Wondering if the lights are out. / classroom. I don't know if you can pick this up. Let's see, is there, here we go. Thank you. I thought there were some automatic lights. This room is used for faculty conferences. It is also used for large group therapies. We have a couple of adult groups that come in. And at that point in time, there would be a large table out. And it is also used for some small seminar types of classes. It's a great room. We depend on it a lot because we do not have a classroom here in the building. Okay, tornado shelter area, just down here, down in our audiology area. Let's see, more signage, and as we come back around, I will bring you through our billing office, which is kind of the back side of our reception area. Hi, Becky. And our administrative billing specialist is in here. And coming through here, coming back into the reception area, the front reception area, we have a very nice large storage space off to the right, which stores equipment, small clinical equipment that we check out to students, and at this point a lot of PPE, masks, shields, which we provide to all clinicians and clients in need. Most of our clients, of course, come into the building with their masks, but if something breaks or whatever, we have plenty of masks that we supply to our clients and our clinicians if need be. We kind of have different grades of masks. We have plastic, which are nice, transparent. As you know, much of our therapy needs to be done where you can view somebody's mouth. And we've ordered I-95 masks. We have shields. We require all of our students to wear masks plus shields in a therapy room when they're with a child or an adult. This is a great office, two-sided, and like I say, much of our clinic communications comes out of here.
This is the audiology hallway that houses all of our diagnostic testing and treatment rooms. Hand sanitizer is available as you walk down the hallway for patients and clinicians. It's also available in all the rooms. This hallway also leads to the wheelchair accessible elevator if needed by any student, staff, or patient. So to get to that elevator, we walk down to the end of the path, take a right, go through a door on the left, and it's right there at the end. So we do escort patients as needed to show them the path. This is the audiology tech room. The tech room houses all the supplies and equipment needed for hearing aid checks, hearing aid cleanings, any adjustments we need to do to hearing aids, modifications to ear molds as well as ear shells. We also have demonstration hearing devices, and those awaiting fitting appointments are also housed in here. And so we keep the bags of equipment to deliver up here on the shelves. A sink is available over here on the left for hand washing and sanitizing other equipment as needed. We also store portable screening equipment in here. And of course, we hand sanitize and wipe down surfaces to keep everyone safe and keep our hearing devices in good shape. And gloves are also available in this room. This is our first audio booth, known as Room 1. And in all our audio suites, we have video otoscopy, a full admittance bridge, a 2-channel audiometer here. We have diagnostic otoacoustic emissions equipment, instrumentation for cerumen management, and real ear capabilities, as well as hand sanitizer, sanitizing wipes, and gloves. All suites have recorded speech materials. In this room, it is built into this particular audiometer. This and all suites have full hearing aid programming capability. This is one of 2 suites that have visual reinforcement reinforcers, if you'll come into the booth with me. So here we have our reinforcers that light up when we're doing visual reinforcement audiometry. It's also the only suite with ultra high frequency, up to 16,000 hertz testing available with this audiometer. This room does have a step up into the booth, while the other booths are set into the floor. This is room number 2 for audio booths. It has the same capabilities. It has traditional and also video otoscopy, just like room 1. It has a full admittance bridge, a 2-channel audiometer. We have diagnostic otoacoustic emissions over here, instrumentation for cerumen management, and both real ear and hearing aid programming capabilities, as well as hand sanitizer, sanitizing wipes, and gloves. Recorded speech materials in this room and also in room 3 are done via CD player. This is the second of 2 suites with the visual reinforcers. And the set-in booth in this suite provides wheelchair accessibility. And so this is a very large test booth, and we like to use it with our pediatric patients, again, for the visual reinforcement audiometry. We also have a high chair in here with straps to keep kids safe while we're doing pediatric testing as well. This is our third audio booth room. Room 3 has the same capabilities, traditional and video otoscopy. Over here, here's the video otoscopy. It has a full admittance bridge, a 2-channel audiometer back over here, just as the other booths do. It has diagnostic OAE equipment, which is back over here by the admittance bridge, instrumentation for cerumen management, real ear capabilities over here, just like the other 2 booths, as well as hand sanitizer, sanitizing wipes, and gloves. Recorded speech materials in this room and in room 2 are provided via the CD player. This room holds the second set into the floor booth, thus it's wheelchair accessible. In this room, we also have the ability to map cochlear implants, and so we have extra laptop in here with the software needed to do that. This is a smaller booth, but we still have plenty of toys for play audiometry. You can see we have all sorts of fun stuff in here, which we can use in this booth or other booths as needed. But we cannot play, we must move on. This is room number 4 of our audio rooms. This is where we house our electrophysiological and vestibular testing equipment. The testing capabilities in here include neurodiagnostic and threshold auditory brainstem response testing, ECOG testing, full ENG and VNG testing, so vestibular testing, including calorics and VHIT. A second sink is available in this room, and extra disposable supplies over here on the wall, such as gloves and sanitizer, are stored here. As previously mentioned, hand sanitizer is readily available in all clinic rooms, including the tech room I showed you first, as well as the wall-mounted dispenser. Various sizes of gloves as well as sanitizing wipes are available in each room that I talked about, including that tech room, and a surplus supply is housed in the storage cabinets up here in room number 4.
So we will transition upstairs another way. We can go upstairs through the back door. I will show you how we can transition upstairs through our front staircase. Okay. Hi. All right. So another staircase here. So as we enter our second floor, you'll see that we have fire alarm, fire alert light, hand sanitizer on the wall, fire extinguisher. We are entering an area where we have faculty offices. And as you can see, the walls are lined with posters representing research presentations. First room I will show you is our main supervisory office for SLP clinical supervisors. This houses, at this point, 3 different supervisors. It's a large room. The offices are partitioned off. Now we have redone partitioning due to COVID distancing procedures. But at each desk you will see computer setup where clinical treatment, diagnostic sessions can be observed via our intelligent systems observation system. So this is at this point housing 2 different supervisors. Okay, if we come down this way towards our front office, see a hallway to the right, student faculty restrooms. Here is our departmental office, which houses our administrative director and student workers or whomever else needs to have desks there. More hand sanitizers. Come around here to kind of an open foyer area where we have really nice printers. Color printers. We can do all the printing, students can do all the printing they want here to create therapy materials and what have you. Okay, so if we come down this way, there's another fire alarm. Off to the right, you will see student lockers, student mailboxes, faculty mailboxes, and just, some other storage, another storage area. And here off to the left is our kind of a faculty student area where they can, use a refrigerator, get a cup of coffee, prepare a simple meal, whatever. Obviously, during this COVID period, this is not being utilized a lot, but during a regular, typical time, this is utilized a lot. It's a really great thing for our students to have this lounge area because we're a little bit isolated here on campus, and it takes a walk or whatever, to get to somewhere else where there's a kitchen area. So that's a nice feature for our students and faculty. In this room here, we generally have a large table that we use this area for conferencing, meetings, group meetings. So you can see it's not as large as the downstairs conference room, but it's used a lot for group meetings, and some small classroom activities are also carried out here. Right now we are also using this as a lab for some research testing that is going on a part-time basis. You can see the screens, overhead screens, equipped to project and have group presentations and all. Then as we come down this way, more faculty offices. This particular room here happens to be kind of a spillover area in the event that we have more than 3 clinical supervisors in-house that are needing to observe clients via the video system. They can come into this room, which is not occupied right now, but it serves as a very nice area for observing therapy sessions and diagnostic sessions, what have you. Okay, then I'm going to show you a faculty office, a typical faculty office. Let me see if I can not, okay. Hold on, let's see. Want to make sure that this is open. Okay. Typical faculty office in terms of size, furniture. So this particular faculty member has this office and a research lab. And Dr. Schaefer will go over and show all the different research labs that belong to the different faculty. But this office is houses a full-time faculty member. As you can see, it's very nice size. Also has a video monitoring system in there in case this particular faculty member wants to observe any therapy clinical sessions. And then we can just come down and circle around. You can kind of see Dr. Schaefer will be showing you a few more offices and research areas, but as you can see, this second floor is kind of set up on a circular type of pattern, so it's very easy to maneuver around. And at this point, we don't have pathways designated for COVID. Those pathways are mainly designated for entering the building and exiting the building, and then traffic areas or traffic flow downstairs.
In this room, graduate students are provided workstations to complete coursework, clinical reports, and group projects. In addition to password-protected computers, students have access to a printer to print therapy, assessment, and intervention materials. This is the student library, where we store therapy, assessment, and intervention materials. So there's quite a few books in here, therapy materials, and then all the tests here on the back wall.
This is one of the classrooms used by the Audiology and Speech Language Pathology department. This room is a collaborative workspace meant to have a screen visible at every table for each student. Each pod is able to go into student projection mode if they wanted to share presentations. Instructors are able to mute pods if need be, and there's a webcam in the back right-hand corner, as well as speakers in the middle of the space for if guest speakers needed to be called in. They could also give presentations, have meetings with other people. As well as the webcam in the back right-hand corner, we do have a Ziggy on the instructor station that allows the instructor to share what they're working on, if they have physical paperwork, and or another way to show examples. So the room right now is currently set up to hold 44 for pre-COVID. Post-COVID, it can hold up to 15 students, safely distanced. The room also offers laptops for checkout. We have one available for every student in the classroom.
This is Dr. Ben Kirby's lab. It's downstairs near our audiology hallway. And it's an auditory cognition lab, and he conducts research on the influences of cognition, development, and hearing loss on listening ability in adults and children. He has a new sound booth in here. You can see he has some speakers set up. And then around the corner here, he has workstations for his research and testing in the booth, as well as locking storage cabinets for his data. This is Dr. Olness's Discourse Research Lab. This is a transdisciplinary, trans-institutional, collaborative team focused on basic, clinical, and organizational research and advocacy for and with people whose lives have been impacted by aphasia and other neurogenic communication disorders. Studies of narrative, life stories, conversation, and everyday communicative engagement of people impacted by neurogenic communication disorders draw from the disciplines of discourse linguistics, narrative medicine, and the life participation approach to design of clinical intervention. This is Dr. Kat Oyama's lab, and it's a psycholinguistics lab. Her lab focuses on first and second language acquisition and phonetics phonology. Her main research interest is to study how languages differ in phonetic and phonological aspects, and how these cross-linguistic differences affect children's acquisition of their first language, as well as the acquisition of their second language. This is Dr. Sharon Miller's lab, where it's the Brain and Behavior Lab. She does brain imaging research and aims to identify biomarkers of successful speech perception outcomes in adults and children with hearing loss who use hearing aids and cochlear implants. In addition to this equipment, she also has a sound booth here behind the door. And this sound booth can be made into a larger booth as it's shared with Dr. Schaefer's lab on the back wall. This is Dr. Fletcher's Motor Speech Disorder Lab, and Dr. Fletcher's lab is used for the perceptual and acoustic analysis of audio speech samples from people with motor speech disorders. The lab also contains equipment for conducting endoscopy and nasometry evaluations. This is the Brain, Language, and Memory Lab from Boji Lam. And Dr. Lam studies how language experience and emotion impact communicative performance and learning outcomes. With a multidisciplinary approach, his group uses methods from psycholinguistics, cognitive science, and social and experimental psychology to examine the interactions among language backgrounds such as bilingualism, motivation, and communicative behaviors in typical language learners and neurodivergent populations. And this is my lab. I'm Dr. Schaefer, and I focus on the assessment and management of children with hearing loss and other auditory disorders through the use of hearing technologies. And so we have multiple workstations in here, hearing technology stored in here, hearing aid test boxes and equipment, audiometer, and the sound booth I mentioned earlier. So it's a fairly large sound booth by itself, but connects to a second sound booth on the other side with Dr. Miller in case we need to do an experiment that requires a very large booth. This is Dr. Kamakshi Gopal's Auditory Electrophysiology Lab. The goal of her lab experiments are to expand our knowledge in the area of objective measures of auditory processing. Using various auditory evoked potential measures, her research studies have focused on evaluating individuals with normal hearing, autism spectrum disorder, clinical depression, migraine, headaches, and noise exposure. Currently, she's working on a project aimed at objective measures of tinnitus. Dr. Gopal also has a sound booth here on this side, which stores her electrophysiology equipment. The AUD student files, as well as the graduate speech-language pathology files, are maintained in our password-protected drive, which can be accessed only by clinic directors and program directors, as well as the department chair and her administrative assistant. These particular files we're showing you are audiology that date back to 2018. Prior to this, they're stored in Perceptive Content, a university-wide storage system, In this drive, we also store admissions information, recruitment information, handbooks and forms, and a lot of other fun stuff.
I wanted to show you one of our EMR system, which is called Counselor. And out of that system, we maintain a lot of operations. We also store all of our clinic files and records. So for every client that comes in here, their evaluation records are stored in there, their session records, their IEPs or treatment plans, their final case reports are stored in there for every semester, and much other correspondence, maybe from outside agencies or whomever, that we believe it mandates, proper, confidential, private storage. Okay, so Jen has brought up the screen of one of our clients. This happens to be an in-person client. And in terms of all of the information that's in here, I'm just going to go over it briefly. We have all the personal information, all the relevant notes about this client, if they're on a scholarship. Jen, what else is under the personal information in your notations that you've made?
So the notes from their homepage show all of the text message and email communications for reports or our COVID screeners, for anything that goes through billing, any particular notes regarding payment, we put there so that we have quick access.
Okay. Also in this system, and I'll have Jen go over to just the report filing area, at any point in time we can pull up an assessment report. We can pull up any standardized testing or informal testing materials and records. We can pull up a final case report, end of semester report, or a treatment plan. It's all in there in sequential order. This client has been coming a while, as you can see. At this point, these records are accessed by either Jen or our billing specialist because our students most of the time are not in-house. They've all been trained to access this system, but they have to do it from our computer lab upstairs because we do not allow access to this system outside of here unless you have a special connection with the UNT network. But in a regular semester, students are storing reports in here, they are accessing reports. And also what Jen does with this is a lot of communications. So all the scheduling is done in Counselor. Weekly schedules, daily schedules, all of the alerts that need to go to our clients. For instance, before every therapy session, within 24 hours, a client is sent a COVID screener, which they are required to fill out. If they fail to fill that out, then Jen will actually do that verbally with them over the phone before they are allowed to come into the clinic. And then the results are stored in this system. Particular alerts and reminders of, clinical closings, clinical schedules are sent to clients. Jen does a lot, if a client is absent. Jen, do they indicate that through this system, or you simply put that information in?
That would go in the notes.
Okay.
So here's the appointments, and then I can click any appointment, and there would be notations about the COVID screener being verified, if they were absent, if they were a no-show. We have a status listing, and all of that's going to be in there for every single appointment.
Okay. And can you show the screen which kind of shows the overall schedule for the week or for the...
Sure. So for today, it's Friday. It's not a normal clinic day. We only have one client. But here's speech, and then I can click over to audiology, and it shows me every provider, gives me the day. I can go to any day on the calendar, and I can toggle back and forth
Okay.
between clinics easily.
And how about a master clinic room schedule? Is that in Counselor as well?
No, I
Okay.
use that on a separate document.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Do you want me to pull it up?
No, that's okay. I kind of wanted to make sure that the functions of Counselor,
Sure.
were clarified because we use the system for so many things right now.
There is a place to put a room. There's a room number
Mm-hmm.
that we can enter, but since I have a master schedule on a different form,
Yeah.
that's what I use.
Okay. Yeah, so if I need to reschedule a therapy session or whatever, I might write to the client, but I also might have Jen then send a reminder through Counselor. So much communication goes through that system. We've been real happy with it. Anything else about that you can think of in terms of?
Just the questionnaires portion of it, to see how the questionnaires look. So this is how we keep up with compliance for consents and releases. We send these out electronically. Those are done annually to make sure consents and releases are current. And then every time they come for a visit, the COVID screener is sent, and it lets me know whether it's complete or incomplete. And all communications for email are logged here.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
This is our Counsel Ear program, access and procedures for audiology. All the audiology patient files and information is stored on this fully secured web-based electronic medical record system. All authorized users have restricted password-protected access through the Counsel Ear website, which allows them to access this data only via designated computers within the building. All scheduling, insurance, billing, fee payments, and records maintenance are handled through this system. Front office staff, supervisors, and students have appropriate levels of use authorization depending on their need. This allows students to have more restricted access without impeding their learning for these administrative type activities. This concludes the virtual tour of the University of North Texas Speech and Hearing Clinic. Thank you for watching our video, and we appreciate your time and effort. We look forward to working with you through this process, and of course, have a wonderful day and stay safe.